Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is books, blogs, and poetry. We had an amazing guest who isn't backstage yet, but that's okay because you know what they say in show business, the show must go on. So let's bring out the star of our show. It's DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. Hello, DIANN.
Good morning, Dr. Jacalyn. How's it going today?
Everything's going really well. How about with you?
Well, it's finally just like around 100 degrees here instead of 107 and 114. So I'm like really happy.
It's so funny you say that, DIANN. I was speaking to one of our friends and team members, Red O'Laughlin, yesterday, and I said, "How's the weather out there?" And he said, "It's not too bad. It's cooling down. It's 95." It's about 95 here as well. I guess we just get used to it.
Yeah, that is so true. And
Yeah.
hey, I'll take this over hurricanes, earthquakes, floods. So.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So, DIANN, for people who have not met you before, you and I have been together, I think, for 2 years now, and you've brought a lot of people to this platform. Might even be more than 2 years, I'm not sure. But
it is like 3, I think.
Is it 3 years? Oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun. And as you know, this show was not one of our original shows. The Corner Bookstore wasn't. It got so busy. Every week there was another author coming. So we started this show. And I'd love for you just to share a little bit with our audience, for people who haven't met you, your passion and your creative genius when it comes to writing and publishing books.
Oh, you're so kind, Dr. Jacalyn. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. We're so happy you're with us. My background really is education. I was in the classroom, but I have always been telling stories, been on stage since I was 10 years old, just, local things. But still, it was on stage and I had a blast. So storytelling is sort of in my blood. And my mom and grandmother were storytellers. So like I said, it's in my blood. And the time came where I thought, it's time for me to put my stories to print. And so I think it took a long time to get published, Dr. Jacalyn. That's a story in itself. But in 2017, I had my first book published. And I love so my tagline is embrace imagination, and to write books with themes that have peace, kindness, love yourself, and use your imagination. So that's what I'm all about.
Fantastic. And you're also a sponsor here at our platform, so we'll be sharing your sponsorship later. And thank you so much for that. It really means a lot.
You're welcome.
DIANN, our guest today, Katherine Lawrence, is not backstage, but she's a client of a publicist. And that's also your publicist, Mickey Mickelson. Mickey sends us a lot of wonderful people. So before we start chatting about our work, our books that we have published and what we have coming out, what do you think the value is for all of the authors out there? What is the value to working with a publicist?
Sure. Best thing I ever did. And I want to give a shout out to Abundantly Social, Amy, who runs it. She's the one that connected me with Mickey at Creative Edge, and so I'm just eternally grateful for her. And between Amy, or Abundantly Social, because she's a friend now, handling all the social media things, as well as handling publicity. Smartest thing I ever did. It really turned around me getting out in front of the public, people hearing my names. And of course, Dr. Jacalyn being a part of your show has helped tremendously too. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that. It's all good, and we do the best that we can here in getting our team members recognized and getting them as much airtime and publicity as we can. So it's all a labor of love for sure. So DIANN, one of the topics that I'd really like to talk about is time management when it comes to writing and getting published. There are people who are full-time professional authors, and then there are people who are doing things part-time. So that I would be one of the part-time people. And when you're part-time, it's not always easy to find the time. You actually have to put it into your schedule. But the difference is you mentally have to be present so that you can write. Just because you say between this time and this time I'm going to be writing doesn't mean that you're able to express yourself because you have other thoughts in your mind. So tell our audience, are you a full-time or part-time author? And how do you get your mindset so that you're able to take that time and be productive?
That's great questions, great point all the way around. So I am proud to say I'm now a full-time author, and that has made a world of difference to just free my mind. And when ideas pop in, I can just, if I'm not driving the car, I can go write it down. I try to carry paper with me so that if I am out shopping and an idea pops in my brain, I, pull out my notepad and write the idea before I lose it. And I also think it's important to have a room that as soon as you are a space somewhere that you know that once you either enter the room or you sit down in a special place, that your brain automatically goes, it's creativity time. And you might be doing research, hardcore work, maybe not even the book yet, because in like historical fiction, it was like lots and lots of research. But my brain knew, like, okay, now this is what my main focus and this is what I'm going to do. And I think that makes a world of difference as well. And of course, there are days that you're totally stressed. At least I am. Maybe no one else gets stressed, but I'm like, I have so much to do. But I knew I needed to get on with it. And there's certain, I love scents and smells, and this wood scent that you can smell helps bring about a sense of creativity into your mind. And so I love oils and scents and things like that help me.
Thanks for sharing that, DIANN. It sounds like you really know how to set the stage, set the scene so that you're at least relaxed enough so that the creative juices can start flowing.
That's absolutely correct. You're so right. And another trick is depending on what you're writing. So like Dr. Jacalyn, your incredible book with a lovely song about listening that makes you just want to dance. And there was a moment that you didn't know you were going to have such a great song, but you knew you had it in your mind. Well, things like that for me, I know I want to go somewhere, what I'm going to do. And so if it's a children's book, I might put on some fun children's book and hear the songs, get them a rink-a-dink-a-dink, our happiness runs in a circle. And, but like for my young adult book, I would play music of that particular time period. And sometimes, like I went to the antique store, Dr. Jacalyn, and I purchased some clothes from that time period. Obviously, they did not fit me because people were so teeny tiny back then. But I could hang it up, and I would make sure that that dress was written in to for one of my characters, and it just helped again set the mood for that time period. So I would enter the 1920s. So that helped me. What do you think of that?
I love that idea. That's not something I actually have thought of in the past, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I have 2 tips myself, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. So one of them is when you are a new author or even an established author, to be part of a collaborative book project. And I'll share what I mean by this. So we actually have a collaborative book project, Dr. Madeline Chan and myself. It's called Creative Hearts. And even though someone may, like yourself or myself, we may already have content out there for a very low fee, $61, people can be part of the project. So they have a whole chapter that's dedicated to their work and gets out to a new audience. I personally have been asked to be in collaborative book projects before, and I've said no because they were asking for $1,000+. And I thought, why would I give that when I can easily just do something myself? But when it comes to having an opportunity to be in front of a new audience for $61, to me, I think that's really a great opportunity. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, for all of my books, since the first one, Behind the Green Screen, I've been working with a book coach. And Red O'Loughlin, whom you introduced me to, I believe, he has helped me in so many ways because he keeps me on point. And sometimes when we're meeting, I'll digress and just start blithering on, and he just goes right back to where we were. And I'm like, wait, are you listening? Did you hear what I said? He's like, yes, I heard what you said. But we have work we have to get done. So what are your thoughts about the collaborative book project, as well as, or in addition to, in substitution of working with a book coach?
I think both. One's not better than the other. Well, actually, coaching is actually a little better, but collaboration's great. I'd be exactly like you, Dr. Jacalyn, in my response. $1,000, no, it takes too long to make that. But $61, I mean, that's possibly going out to a nice dinner. So if you're going to do that, I'd much rather put, cook at home and then put the money to working with some other educators or authors, whomever, whatever the case may be in the writing. So that's fabulous, because when you're with other people that are quality authors who have a large following, or slash tribe, people like to call it, then that just introduces you to their people and vice versa. And, we have to think of all different types of ways to get our books out there to be noticed, because, there's a million authors out there around the whole wide world. So whatever it takes. As far as coaching, obviously, I totally believe in it, because yes, I did introduce you to Red, and he's phenomenal. And um, I probably sometimes need someone to go, hello, are you on point? Because especially when you're doing a lot of research, is so easy to go down the wrong rabbit hole, but you just find that topic so interesting, and before you know it, you're like, oh gosh, I need to get back on point. So yay for coaches. And I really recommend people that are new to writing, but they really have this passion, they're ready to do it, to get a book coach. And you might share what is so great about the way Red does his coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. So, the approach that Red uses, and I'm not going to give away all of his secret sauce, but you don't actually have to sit and labor over the computer or with a pen or a pencil, crayon, and have to sit there and think of exactly what it is you want to write. He has a different approach, and it really helps you feel at ease. And then the content just starts to flow out. And then he works with you to get it streamlined and in a publishable condition. So I highly recommend working with Red. He works with new authors. He actually has done a Talking Head series. He's one of our expert presenters, as is DIANN. He did a series on how to write and publish your book for free. So he really has a lot of great information. In fact, I'm going to share his contact information for anyone who's interested in contacting him. You think I would have it readily available. So that's Red O'Loughlin. Here's his information. If you'd like to reach out to him for book coaching, book editing, if you need a book publisher, it's red.o'loughlin, OLAUGHLIN @gmail.com, or give him a phone call if you're outside the United States, 01-281-687-1188. All right. Thank you very much for that. So, DIANN, once the book is published, it's kind of like, wow, that's a relief. But guess what? Nobody knows about it unless you have a stellar marketing plan. And even if you have a marketing plan, that doesn't mean that it's going to draw the number of sales or the number of reviews that we'd like to get. I know for me, I could really use some more sales and some more reviews. I'm just saying. So what have you found? Because I'm self-publishing and you're not. You have 3 publishers, I believe. What have you found the difference is when you go from self-publishing, if you ever did, to working with publishers who are established?
Right. So I've always done hybrid publishing, which is a combination of self-publishing and then having a publisher who takes all my work and puts it together. So all I'm really doing is investing in getting the book published. And now I have a full-blown publisher, Norton's Triad Publications, and I'm just so excited to be part of their family. The huge difference, I think, is really depends on your personality. If you're the kind of person that wants control of every single aspect of the publishing as well as the writing, then self-publishing is definitely for you. If you're like me and you're like, I don't want to know the back work, I don't want to have to put it all together. I'll let you do that magic and I'll write the story and I'll invest in getting the book out. That's hybrid, and that's how I started. And now I'm so excited, as I mentioned a moment ago, with a full-blown publisher. You write the story. They, depending on the publisher, they have their own editing team and they have their own graphics people. And so they even handle the marketing. So I'm very lucky in that regards. But you made an excellent point, Dr. Jacalyn. Just because your book's published, it's not, yay, I'm going to get rich. It's that's just the beginning. Now the hard part, marketing.
Yeah, marketing is the hard part. And Diane, you know, with the corner bookstore and this store, I have yet to meet any author, even New York Times best-selling authors, who said, wow, I got rich from writing books. So
Right.
there are many reasons to write books. I know for me, I have 3 books coming out this month, and I didn't write any of them to get rich. I have different reasons why I wrote them, but the Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening, I wrote that for credibility reasons, and also because I'm going to do some public speaking about the art of elevated listening or the power of elevated listening. And someone said to me when they were booking my time and to be a speaker, they said, I assume you have a book. And I thought, oh, I do not have a book. So now I have a book. And so anyway, there's a reason for that. That's kind of like my mantra. It's kind of like a textbook. And then for the other books, one's a children's book, and then one is sort of a fun way of looking at having an incurable disease, if that makes sense. So that's why I wrote those books, but I have not had enough time to market them properly. And so the one thing I think that's amazing about writing is that if you didn't get it right with the marketing, when you launch the book, you can relaunch the book. You can relaunch the book as many times as you want. You can change the cover. You can have a book launch party. What are your thoughts about these things, Diane?
Absolutely. You only have to change not even the cover. You just have to change a couple of words, punctuation, something as simple as that, and you can have a relaunch party. So that's exciting. I think launches are important because it gets people together and it gets people talking about your book. Again, marketing is, I think you have to have a passion for it to really get out there. And time is time, and so that's why I'm glad there's people like Abundantly Social that says, how do you want it, and offers different levels of marketing, and you can go from there. So I'm grateful for those people completely.
And by the way, I just want to acknowledge something. That is a wonderful company and people who work there. There are also people out there who are not quite as wonderful, who will take your money and not deliver. And I've had this happen twice so far, and cost me several hundreds of dollars, which it's on that person, unfortunately. But I just want people to be wary, small word, sounds like leery, that if you get approached, which I do all the time, I'm sure Diane, you do too, you get approached by strangers who see that you're publishing books or that you have a website and they can do something better for you and they have all the answers and all you have to do is pay them money. Of course, you can't see them. You don't know where they are. You don't even know if they're real people. And in some cases, people deliver, in some cases, they don't. So I would just ask around before you hire an agency or a person or persons, because they may or may not do what they're supposed to be doing. Diane, do you have any feedback about where you put your money and who you invest in?
Yes, I do. And Dr. Jacalyn, again, another excellent point. For me, being such a trustworthy person, I find it so difficult to believe there are people that would take advantage of others. And I think they call that phishing when they send those little emails out and they have no desire to actually do what they say they're doing. They just collect the money and go on. And it's really so sad. I don't understand how they can go to sleep at night. So I would always make sure that it was a credible place. So I know I keep mentioning Abundantly Social, but there's also like Lone Star Lit. It's been around for a while. Christine Hall does a fabulous job in marketing your books, and you have different levels. I also use Story Monster magazine, and Lucia, she does the RV books, and has several magazines. And I learned about her through Mickey, and so I just really trust all these people because they've been around for a while. Even on LinkedIn, people will contact you. And then I've discovered that just because they're on LinkedIn doesn't mean they really have a business. So please double check, everybody.
Such a great point. I was contacted on LinkedIn by somebody who's royalty and has millions of followers, only to find out that it was a completely phony thing. I don't know how they got all the followers on LinkedIn, but they started sending me unpleasant, unwanted, unsolicited photographs of themselves. So LinkedIn actually caught it and blocked them. And somehow they started a new account with, again, millions of followers. I don't know how they get them, but people have to be really very cautious about it. So,
Yeah,
Diane, what do you think? We've actually interviewed people in this particular category, but what do you think about co-authoring as opposed to a collaborative book project? You and another author teaming up to write maybe a series or write one book. Is that something that you've ever thought of doing?
Well, for me, that probably wouldn't work just because children's books, they're very short. But I have some friends, and we've even interviewed them, Roxanne and her co-author, and they have set up a great way for each one to build off of each other. And so I've seen it works very successfully, but it's not something that would work for me at this point in time when it comes to children's books. But what I do love to do, Dr. Jacalyn, is I love to brainstorm with others, come up with ideas and call a friend that I can really trust and say, I'm thinking about doing this and blah, blah, blah. And we just kind of throw ideas back and forth. And before I know it, they've given me some really solid ideas, and vice versa. I had a friend and I said, well, maybe you could really go this direction. And I received a week later a whole list of all the new titles that she's going to have. So that, to me, that's really fun to do it that way.
Yes, that definitely is. And I think when you ask someone for help, you're asking for a solution and they provide it, that's great. I want people to be on their toes. I was going to say leery or weary, whatever the word is again, that if someone's sharing something with you and you don't ask them for a solution, they just want you to listen. And we know all about that from our elevated listening. So, Diane, what about writing with the intent to have an audio version of your book? I have not done this yet. I feel like I'm still getting a handle on writing in general. I haven't applied for any awards, but I know we've had people on here who actually have audiobooks. Is that something that you have or you're considering?
Boy, you have timed it so well. I was going to keep this a secret. So, just this weekend, I did a trailer, which I narrated of one of my books, and so probably with the next few months, I'll have my first children's book audio up. So, investigating, working with the publisher to find the best way to go. People, if you're listening, I just learned yesterday about, some contracts to read the fine print because you could be locked in for 7 years, and that just sounds horrible to me. But for someone else, it might be great. So just make sure you really, really read the contracts. But I do believe audio is very important to have.
Congratulations, Diane. That's huge. I didn't have any idea about that. That was just curiosity. So tell us, what was it like to create that trailer? What are some of the tips that you can share for success?
Well, most people, they say don't do your own books, and I would agree with that. If you don't have a background in stage or reading and so forth, if you only have a monotone voice, you just speak just like that, and it's always flat, no one's ever going to listen to your story. But I also believe that if you are going to read your story or someone else's, you need to practice reading it over and over and over. So just these 10 pages that I did, I printed it out. I made notes to remind myself which voice to go to as I'm coming up to that particular part in the story. I wrote down when to giggle so that it would, but of course I practiced so much, but by the time I was actually recording it, I had it down pat. But those are things you really need to do so that you don't have to go back and re-edit. And that's the other thing, is the editing. That's when everything really gets exciting and fun to me. Hard for the person producing it because they have to stop. You have to read that little part over, and you have to make sure that timing fits with the rest of the story. So luckily for me, being a musician, a singer, I should say, that I would just listen to the beats of how I first did it, and then I would make sure I kept the same beat going on.
Hey, Diane, that's a great point and a nice segue. So, from being on the show with me, when I was reading my children's book, I was not a good person to be reading because I don't have the different voices. And have you ever thought of, or have you ever gone to a book reading where you're going to do some book signing afterwards and had other people come with you and do the voices of other characters, or do you typically do all of the reading yourself?
Again, an excellent question. I have always done the readings. If you bring in, unless you know the people and they go, yeah, I won't charge you, then I might consider that. But that would be a really formal setting where that would probably be necessary. Now, if I had all my wishes come true, then say for Rise, A Girl Struggle for More, I would hire people with all the different voices, which would be about, 10 characters, and it'd be like a play, and they come and read those parts. That to me would be extremely exciting to do because I can't come up with like 8 different men voices. Even the voices I have, I still sound like a girl trying to talk like a man.
We've actually had some voiceover artists on our film and music show, and it really is an incredible talent and skill that they have. And I definitely don't actually have that skill in any regard. But something I would like you to talk about also, because I don't have any experience doing this yet, is the actual book tours and book signings. I know during COVID, we had several authors on who did virtual book tours. I don't know, are people back out there going around the country, or how is it? You just go around your neighborhood, you go to one place? What's it been like for you?
Yeah. So I think a lot of virtual book tours are still going on. That's my personal favorite because then I can be in different parts of the U.S. or different parts of the world even, and that's pretty exciting. I do know some authors who have set up their own book tours within their local country that they're living in because they happen to be in Panama. And I know some other authors who, set up book tours in various cities around one location. So, for example, in Fort Worth, Texas, they might go to Arlington as well as Dallas and Mesquite and hit all the Barnes and Nobles in that regard. And so that's how it's usually done.
So DIANN, do you just get your books? You order, you get a certain number of your books, you put them in your car, whatever public transportation, your bag. You go down to Barnes and Noble, you go, hey, here I am. I've got my books. You have a table. Can I go over to the cafe area? How does it work to get in there?
Well, I can't speak for all Barnes and Nobles, but for where I have spoken, you have to meet the person in charge of activities and setting up your tables, and they will let you know when and where and how and time that they want you to be there, and you work with them on those dates and the setup. You can't just show up. They want credible authors, and they want to know. So, for example, for a children's author, I like being set up right where the kiddos are, making sure Barnes and Nobles will put out a notice, a children author, blah, 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 is going to be here at this amount of time, and he or she's going to provide an activity, and you show up. The books are sold through Barnes and Noble, so there's no money exchanging hands, through me and the person. So I like that. I don't like dealing with any of the money. I don't like that aspect at all.
That's a great point. I was going to bring that up also, DIANN. I've been asked to speak somewhere, and I was thinking, I'm going to be able to sell the books in the back. And how was I going to collect the money? And there's actually seemingly easy ways to do this by buying these little devices that you can. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think you also just brought up another great point, is that if your books are not available through major retailers, if they're only on Amazon, then they're probably not going to let you come into the bookstores and promote the books, right?
Well, generally, your publisher will get you set up with Barnes and Noble, and in the smaller bookstores, which I really like to promote because I love the little corner bookstores. Oh my gosh, that sounds like a movie. Just teasing. Remember, you got mail. Anyway, they can purchase. Anyone can walk in and say, this is the book I'm interested in. If the author's book has an ISBN, so like that part right there, that tells them, all they have to do is say, what's the author's name, what's the title of the book, and it'll pop up and they can order it. So that's very exciting. But generally, a solid publisher is going to make sure you're in Barnes & Noble, Borders, and Amazon.
Fantastic. Well, DIANN, I'm going to put you on the spot, as I like to do, as you know, and I'd love to have you read from one of your books and using several voices.
Oh, no, because I thought you were going to read, and I thought, okay, I'll just do this one little poem that I love to read, since it's books and blogs. It's more of a prose, but...
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, but it's only one voice.
Okay.
Okay. Moonbeams, stars shimmer in the blue moonlight, wishes swirling in space. Glowing moonbeams brighten the night, guiding the wishes to the stars. Moonbeams and stars shining bright, may wishes come true tonight. Wishes rise from cities and farms throughout the whole wide world. Hopeful wishes for joy and peace, healing wishes of love. Moonbeams and stars shining bright, may wishes come true tonight. Stars shimmer in the blue moonlight as wishes come true tonight. That's from The Little Girl on the Moon, The Big Idea.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, Diane, we're sorry that our guest is not here today, sadly, but we're here and I've really enjoyed this episode. What would you like people to take away when it comes to being a first time author or even a seasoned author? What tip do you want to leave them with today?
Well, Dr. Jacalyn, I think you made the best tip of all, which is have a coach. And the tip from me would be to have a publicist.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's good. And I think also you've got to get out there. You
Mhm.
can't be living in hibernation. You've got to be out there talking about the work that you're doing. Now, Diane, here's a final question I have for you today because I know that you've written many books. So, how do you know which book to focus on when? And if you are doing a book tour or you're doing a book signing, you've got all these books. Do you bring all of them with you? How does that work?
Again, another excellent question. Most likely, I will be, depending on the audience, number one. And number two, depending on the time of year. So as we're moving into the holidays, I'm going to be bringing out the books about peace, about Christmas, holidays, and even the big idea, because that has to do with Christmas, peace, and love. So it really depends on the time of year and your audience. If my audience is all adults, then I'm actually going to bring both books because my young adult historical fiction they're going to enjoy, but most likely some of them are aunts, uncles, parents. And so speaking about some of my children's books are going to work as well.
Now, Diane, is there any circumstance under which you would bring all of your books? And the reason I ask this is I happen to be on Amazon and I saw they have this giant thing that you put all your books in. It's on wheels and you just take it
Mhm.
with you and it's a display case.
Oh, I have not seen that one. I've seen the wagon. That would be really fun, but I don't know if I want to drive my SUV that's a gas guzzler all around. If that thing's like a transformer and can get fold up really small, then probably I would
Yeah,
do it.
I think it bends, but the thing that's kind of neat is that people can go up to it and there you can put multiple books in each section so
Mhm.
people could actually cash and swipe and go.
Oh, wow. That's pretty phenomenal. No, I have not seen that. I'm a little leery of people touching books,
I don't like it
especially
either.
ever since COVID.
Yeah.
So, what I've done, Dr. Jacalyn, is I've gone to, I still like to call it Kinko's, but FedEx, and have them make me a cardboard hardcover of each one of my books. And then behind it, I might have books to sell, or I might have in laminated some of the artwork so they can see some of the artwork, the pages, and then if they decide they want the book, then it's already wrapped in plastic and ready to sell. So I do a lot at some stores, Randall's, and so that Randall's sends the clients who purchasing groceries, they also just run the book through the Randall's while they're purchasing when they're checking out. And then I don't have to handle the money, but the books are all safely, haven't been touched by anyone, and ready to go.
Diane, I love this idea that you just shared. Is it cost effective to be able to get the cover? Because I'm thinking of going there today. How does it work with getting the cardboard cover?
I love it because again, I don't have people. Some kids come up and they accidentally spill their ice cream on the cover or something. So if it would have been a real book, I wouldn't have been able to sell it. And also, unfortunately, some people like to walk off with books, and so um, this helps protect it. The Yes, it is cost effective. You have to bring a high quality um, cover, book JPEG or PNG, whichever way you like to call it, for them to work with. And when you go to set it all up, I'm trying to think of all the steps. They pretty much know me now, but you pick out the cardboard you want, the look you want. They print out a sample and then you go, yes, okay, that's perfect. And then they go and put it on the very thick cardboard that you have personally selected. And also it comes with a stand. You can get it either flat, because maybe you're going to put it on a little easel, which is what I do, but you can also get it where it can have a flap that folds out and stands up on its own. So you have a lot of choices.
I love this. Thank you for sharing that. Just a follow-up question. Did you actually go onto the website and place the order in advance, or you went into the location and said, "Da-da, this is what I need"?
The very first time I went in the location, because I wanted to feel how thick the cardboard and understand the expense difference. I believe Staples also does the same thing, in case you have a Staples by you. And then after that, you can just do it online, because they already know what you want.
I love it. There you go, folks. More fabulous tips from DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. DIANN, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, and who would you like to reach out?
So anyone who's interested in learning more about books, they're always welcome to email me, and I'm most likely going to tell you to go to Red. But you can always learn about my books, join my newsletter, stay up with me on that. My blogs are on my website, so you can reach me at diannfloydboehm.com, and that is absolutely the best way, because all my social media is listed right there.
All right. Thank you, DIANN FLOYD BOEHM, for another fabulous episode. It was great having you here today. We'll see you tomorrow on the United Kingdom News and Culture, and then we'll see you on Thursday on the Corner Bookstore.
See you then. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye for now. Bye for now. Thank you so much, everyone, whether you're watching on the live or the replay. I have a couple of shameless plugs. Why not? If you're interested in any logo merchandise for Dr. Jacalyn LLC or USA Global TV, you can go to our website, usaglobaltv.com or drjacalyn.com, and pick it up there. I'd also like to just mention we have our children's series of books, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor, and Lady Ella is on the back. Lady Ella is actually me, and I have dedicated these books to my great niece, whose name is Ella. And these books it's a book series. We have 4 books out now. Every one of them has been an Amazon #1 new release. Our 5th one is coming out on the 21st, which is the International Day of Listening. And that book has already been an Amazon #1 bestseller, as well as a new release. And then finally, I have another book coming out. This is really the one that is extremely near and dear to me. It's called Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening: Solutions for Deeper Connections, Better Relationships, and More Authentic Conversations. This book is the textbook, basically, on how to listen without judgment, without interruption, without providing solutions, and without stealing the stage. But there's more, friends. Yes, there are case studies, there are testimonials, and there are 2 quizzes in this book. And this book is the first in a series of a number of books that will be dedicated to listening in various scenarios. So please go over to Amazon and pick up your copy. Okay, we're going to close out with a sponsorship from the lovely, the dynamic, the beautiful DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. And we'll be right back with the Business Talk Show. Thanks for being with us. Bye for now.
Hello, I'm children's author DIANN FLOYD BOEHM, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and radio because I love positive messages, and who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Dianne Floyd BOEHM's A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan, 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 kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at DiANNFloydBOEHM.com.
Hello everyone, I'm Simon MacDonald. I live in the West Highlands of Scotland, a very beautiful part of the world. Seems a long way from the USA Global TV station. But remember, USA Global TV is worldwide. It's a fantastic platform. And every Wednesday, I come along here as part of the show of the United Kingdom, News and Culture. And it's just like a family reunion each time. It's one of these amazing stations that has such a beautiful, friendly, and intelligent atmosphere as well. And we reach out to an audience in the most unimaginable places. And I came here, I don't know, must be over a year ago now. I was introduced by Dr. Philip Chan, and I met Ian Plum-Turner and Helena Chard, who are co-presenters on the show. And then Dianne Floyd BOEHM came along as well. And I mean, the five of us, Dr. Jacalyn, of course, who is our host and our mentor, has just made this show work so well. Tremendous people, lovely time we have, and we impart a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. Nothing's rehearsed. It's all done off the cuff, and it all just gels. And we get great feedback from people coming back and saying how they're enjoying the show. It's lovely to hear. It's lovely to get that interaction from outside as well. And we're all listeners, and some of us are elevated listeners as well. So we enjoy every second of it, and we hope you do too.